It's January 31st, 2020. This is Andrew in Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm going to go over some of the projects I've got going on or that I plan on doing here in the shop. And I'm also going to show you my latest project that I just finished, which would be this holster to hold a multi-tool on a firefighter's radio strap. Basically, it's made out of Wickett and Craig, English bridle leather, vegetable tanned of course, and it's cut down to basically 3 pieces of maybe 4 to 5 ounce, but it just attaches to the radio strap, and then the firefighter can just take the multi-tool out when they need it. And it kind of looks like this. So that's what this video is mainly going to be about. Here's the pattern I made out of poster board for this. I came up with it on my own. Basically, the strap is 1.5 inches wide, and it just slides through the back. Of the strap, just like that, and holds the pliers in place. What else I got going on? I just got a package of these Space Saver bags. I think there's 6 of them in here, and they're a lot smaller than that great big one I was using, and they work much better for wet forming. I used it a little bit on this multi-tool holder. I'm excited to possibly start using it on gun holsters here. So it's got a little vent here on the top, and you put the vacuum cleaner on top of it, sucks all the air out, and helps form your leather to the mold that you're using. I have blue guns, but I also used it on the handcuff case, which I made another video about. But I think the box of these were $16. I got them off of Amazon. I just received a box from Maker's Leather Supply, and in it there was I got a zipper kit. I plan on making a cover for this binder here. It's got a police department's SOP in it, and I'm going to cover this entire thing with this Crazy Horse oil tan leather. You've seen it before. I'm going to cover the entire binder with it, and then it's kind of like one of those old 5-star notebooks you had when you were in school. I'm just going to run the zipper around so that way it can be zipped up and kept like in an officer's patrol bag or something like that. And then when they need it, they can undo the zipper, hook through it, and then zip it back up, and it keeps it protected. But I got the zipper kit as well as the zips. They're the YKK brand. And then I also got a placard holder necklace kit from Maker's Leather Supply. Basically, it holds identification in it, and then a person can just loop it around their neck, and they have their identification readily available to show security or whoever, wherever it is that they work. I saw the kit, thought it looked pretty cool, so I ordered it. It wasn't that expensive. And then the final thing, I just received this knife sharpener from Wicked Edge. This is the Wicked Edge Go. And the reason I ordered this is, I know I've showed it before, but I've been having a little bit of issues with my splitter, keeping the blade sharp. And I've been stropping it, but that seems to only go so far. I think I actually need to get an actual real knife sharpener to sharpen the blade. So this is the blade out of the splitter here, and according to their website, it will hold a blade that's up to 15 inches long. So this is 14 inches long, and I'm going to give that a shot, let you know how it works. Also, I'm going to do the blade in my bench skiver as well. That thing's only about 6 inches wide, but if I could get a really good sharp edge on there using this, that'd be awesome, because I'm getting tired of having my pieces of, leather start getting scrunched up in the splitter because the blade goes dull. So it's just a maintenance issue that you have to address from time to time, and it'll be nice to be able to sharpen the blades on my own. So I'm going to get started on this holder for the multi-tool and show you how that all went together. Now here are the two pieces that I'm going to use to mold the actual part that holds the multi-tool to the pouch. This is going to be the outside piece. It's cut down to about 3 ounces. And this will be the inside liner piece, which is the same. I'm just going to use a real basic plastic bag here to put the tool inside for molding. I'm going to put it in here on top with the rough side facing up and the finished side facing towards the tool. Sealed up. Now open this thing back up. You can see how this is starting to take the form a little bit. It's still pretty wet. I just set it up here on top of the handcuff case mold that I have. It just makes it a little easier to set it up. If you don't have a piece of plastic or something like this, you could just use, a piece of wood, a 2x6 or something. Just cut a little square out, and that would work just fine. So now I'm just going to put this top piece over, and then I'll re-vacuum seal the bag and hold that down, and I'm going to leave that sit overnight.
Cities that you don't know. Right. And then also people are sending these, really disingenuous ones just hoping that people like them more because of the things they're saying. Which is like a sport now. It's like, let's see how many likes I can get. Ooh, I got ding, ding, ding. Southpaw versus orthodox.
All right. What I'm doing here is cutting out the pattern that I drew out. Using the multi-tool. I mean, I'm just checking this thing over and over and over, making adjustments as I go along. And if I have to throw, this poster board away and start over, it's just so much easier to do it this way than versus making a mistake on your leather and then having to throw away an expensive piece of leather. I'm just using My rotary cutter, it's got a dull blade in it. It needs to be changed out anyway, so I'll just sacrifice what's left on it and use it on this poster board. And I'm just using this belt-end template for the rounded edges. And then I'll just cut them off here with my penknife.
That's, we're living through strange times, man.
Well, it's the cancel culture, and I view it as the team culture of everything is what's, I think, one of the more detrimental things to to humanity is you're either on this side or that side, and our side's right, your side's wrong. Most of us are somewhere.
Now I'm just gluing the pieces of the molded portion together, as well as the liner piece for the backside of the holder. The contact cement that I'm using is just barge contact cement. You can get it at Tandy Leather or off of Amazon. I get it off of Amazon just because it's so much cheaper and it's free shipping.
That is so crazy. To this day, I'm like, I've been doing martial arts my whole life. I don't want to fight anybody, but I see people fight. They have no idea how to fight. I'm like, I imagine myself if I was in a street fight with this guy. I'm like, I would be like, why are you doing this, man? This is so crazy. Tell me more about this. And here's what I think. Let me tell you what I think.
I'm just cutting down my pieces for the main portion of the holder here. I'm just cutting them down to about 4 to 5 ounce on the Cobra splitter.
You're talking to each other, and maybe you check your phone, or maybe you're distracted by other noises. When you're wearing headphones, you don't hear anything else. Yeah. So you're locked in. When else would you and I, and we're friends, I've known you for years, when will we ever sit down like this?
Now I guess have the poster template down here on the main piece that I got done splitting. I'm going to trace it out with an awl and then cut the pieces out just using the rotary knife as well as my little trim knife. I'm also punching the holes that'll go between the 2 slits on the back side where you run the belt through to attach it to the strap. Alright, the glue's dry. This backing liner piece is stuck to the main body here. I'm going to have to recut the slits here for the strap to pass through. And then before I put this backing piece on, I need to run a line of stitching around the flap because I want the ends of it to lay underneath this piece. Here I'm just using my stitch groovers. I have a freehand one which has the red handle there for the top portion of the stitching, and then for the edges I'll use the main stitch groover here to cut my stitch grooves in. Kind of just hugs the outside of the project piece, and then I'm just gonna put my first round of stitching around the edge here, the outside flap. What I'm doing here is just stitching the very top of the inside finished leather piece that the tool will rest up against when it's inside the holster. The reason I'm just doing the top side now is because I won't be able to get at it later on in the project. And now I'm just going to even out the top portion of the molded piece with this round knife. Now I'm finishing the top portion of the molded part of the holster, 220, and then wet sand with 400, and then I'll rub it with a canvas cloth. Now I'm just using my little compass here to put a stitch line in for the sewing machine. Now the first step, which I found to be quite important on these molded pieces, like the cases, is I'm just tacking the opposite side of where I'm going to start as well as the bottom. It's kind of like when you're welding, you kind of put a tack in to hold the piece temporarily. That way it'll stay in place when I'm starting the main line of stitching here, which I'm going to do here shortly. But I just do maybe 2 or 3 stitches on that one side and then on the bottom. And now I'm going to go over to the other side and start my main line of stitching. And when I get to those portions that I tacked, I just stop and I make sure that the needle is going to fall into the same holes that I just made for the tack stitching, and just run over them again, and it just seamlessly falls in line with the main line of stitching, so you don't even really see it once it's finished. And then I have a Cobra Class 3 heavy duty sewing machine that I'm using here, and it's loaded up with a number 207 nylon thread. It's the only thread that I keep loaded up in this machine. Now I'm just going to hit the edges with the belt sander to get them nice and even. And then once that's finished, I'll use my number 2 edge beveler and then hit it with 220 sandpaper and then wet sand it with 400. I'll go around and hit it with a canvas cloth as well as a burnishing stick. Now what I'm doing is using some black Phoebings, just regular Phoebings dye, and I'm going to put a layer all the way around where the project was hit with sandpaper, and then I'll come back around and hit it again with Phoebings edge coat. Once the edge coat is dry, I'll go back over with a canvas cloth and shine it up. What I forgot to get footage of is I did put a layer of acrylic, Phoebings acrylic resin on this project, which helps keep it water resistant once it's all done and gives it a little bit of a shine. Now what I'm doing is a test fit of the multi-tool. I'm just going to flip the flap over here and press down a little bit to give a little imprint of where the male end of the snap is. That way I'll know where to cut my hole and then put the cap end of the snap on the main flap here. So I'll just cut the hole here, and then I'll use my little wonder rivet and snap setter that I got from Weaver Leather. I've had the machine now for a few years. I really like it. I highly recommend it. It makes setting snaps and rivets so much easier. Once the female side of that snap has been set, I'm going to use these needle nose pliers to expand the little brass ring in there out so it'll snap a little easier when you go to secure it. sometimes they're a little stiff right after you set them. So I found that that helps quite a bit. And so here's the final piece. I have it attached to this strap here. It just attaches on the back like so. I think I'm going to make some straps myself. I did not make this strap here, but these loops right here that keep the radio cord along on the back side of the strap here, they need to come up just a little bit, so to give a little bit more room for this piece here to slide back and forth, so the person wearing it can adjust it where they need it. But there's the multi-tool. Inside of this is got the leather lining. The snap is the back side of it's between two pieces of leather, so it won't ever scratch up the tool. And I think this one turned out all right. I'll make some improvements on the design and make some more of these. They were fun. So thanks for watching. This is Andrew in Omaha, Nebraska. Have a nice day.